The mess hall buzzed with the usual chaos of lunchtime at Camp Pendleton. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Mitchell stood in line, her hair pulled back in a regulation ponytail, wearing plain fatigues with no insignia visible. She had arrived at the base only hours earlier, deliberately keeping a low profile before her official introduction to the SEAL team she would command. At 32, she was one of the youngest and the first female commander of an elite SEAL unit, a fact that had already sparked whispers and resistance throughout the military community. But before you hear what happened next, let me ask you something. Have you ever been judged before someone knew who you really were? Have you ever had to prove yourself when everyone already decided you weren't enough? Drop a comment below and tell me about a time someone underestimated you, because what happens in this story will absolutely shock you. Sarah reached for a tray when she felt a sharp tug on her ponytail, yanking her head backward. She spun around to face a broad-shouldered Marine, probably mid-20s, grinning with his buddies behind him. "Hey, sweetheart, mess hall's no place for a fashion show? Maybe tie that hair up proper, or better yet, get back to wherever you came from. This ain't a place for girls playing soldier." His friends erupted in laughter, and several other servicemen turned to watch. Some smirking, others looking uncomfortable but saying nothing. Sarah's jaw tightened, but she kept her voice level. "I suggest you step back, Marine." Her tone carried authority, but the man was too caught up in his performance to notice. He leaned closer, his breath reeking of arrogance. "Or what? You gonna report me, run crying to someone who actually matters?" He reached out again, this time flicking her name tape mockingly. "Mitchell? Yeah, I'll remember that. The girl who couldn't handle a little hazing." What the Marine didn't know was that Sarah Mitchell had spent 12 years earning her place. She had completed Hell Week, survived SEER training, led operations in 3 combat zones, and saved the lives of 11 men under impossible circumstances. She had climbed through ranks that tried to bury her, endured twice the scrutiny of any male peer, and proved herself in ways that would break most people. The Bros had chosen her not as a symbol, but because she was the best, but none of that was visible in this moment. She was just another woman in fatigues, easy to dismiss, easier to mock. Sarah could have pulled rank immediately. She could have destroyed this Marine's career with a single sentence. Instead, she did something unexpected. She set down her tray, looked him directly in the eye, and said quietly, "You don't know me. You don't know what I've done or why I'm here. And that's fine, but I'll give you one chance to apologize and walk away." The Marine laughed harder. "Apologize? To you, that's rich." His hand moved toward her shoulder in another dismissive gesture. In one fluid motion, Sarah caught his wrist, twisted it with precise control, and had him bent forward before he could blink. It wasn't violent. It was professional, efficient, the kind of move that demonstrated complete mastery. She held him there for just 3 seconds, long enough for him to feel genuinely off balance, then released him. "That's your second chance?" she said calmly. "I won't offer a third?" The mess hall had gone silent. The Marine stumbled back, his face flushed with humiliation and rage. "You just assaulted me! You're finished!" He looked around for support, but the mood had shifted. An older sergeant near the door had straightened, his eyes widening with recognition. He started moving toward them, but before he could intervene, a voice cut through the silence like a blade. "Attention!" The entire room snapped to attention as Captain Rodriguez, the base commander, strode through the entrance with 3 senior officers. Behind them walked the SEAL team that Sarah would command. 12 hard-faced men who had been briefing in the adjacent building. Rodriguez's expression was thunderous as he approached. "Someone want to explain why my newest unit commander is being harassed in my mess hall?" The Marine's face drained of color. His friends had already melted away from him, leaving him isolated. Sarah remained calm, though something flickered in her eyes. Rodriguez turned to her. "Commander Mitchell, are you injured?" She shook her head. "No, sir, just a misunderstanding." The Marine tried to speak, but Rodriguez silenced him with a look. "You just assaulted a superior officer, son. You're looking at court-martial at minimum." Sarah surprised everyone again. "Sir, permission to speak." Rodriguez nodded. "I don't want to press charges." This Marine made a mistake based on incomplete information. He saw someone he assumed didn't belong and acted on that assumption. It was wrong, but I'd rather use this as a teaching moment. She turned to face the young Marine, who looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him. You judged me before you knew me. You let your biases and your pride make you cruel. But here's the truth. Every person in this mess hall, regardless of gender, rank, or background, earned their place here through sacrifice you can't imagine. The next time you see someone you think doesn't belong, remember this moment. Remember how wrong you were and how lucky you are that giving you a second chance. The Marine's eyes glistened. Ma'am, his voice cracked. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Sarah nodded once. Apology accepted? Now get yourself together, Marine. And do better. Rodriguez dismissed him with orders to report for disciplinary action, though Sarah's intervention had likely saved his career. As the room slowly returned to normal, the SEAL team approached their new commander. The senior chief, a grizzled veteran named Kowalski, extended his hand with genuine respect. Welcome aboard, Commander. That was well played. Sarah shook his hand firmly, then looked at each member of her new team. I didn't come here to prove I'm tough enough or to make statements. I came here to lead, to serve, and to bring each of you home safe. That's my only agenda. That afternoon, word of the incident spread through the base like wildfire. But the story that circulated wasn't about a female commander being harassed. It was about a leader who had the strength to be merciful, the wisdom to teach rather than punish, and the courage to take command not through intimidation, but through character. The Marine she'd spared would later request a transfer to work under her leadership, becoming one of her most loyal advocates. Sarah Mitchell had faced her first test as commander, and she'd passed it not by asserting dominance. She had transformed a moment of cruelty into a lesson about humanity that would resonate through that base for years to come. That day in the mess hall, one woman showed an entire base what real leadership looks like. And in doing so, she didn't just command respect. She earned it, one person at a time, beginning with the Marine who had pulled her hair and learned the hardest lesson of his life.